For the most part, No More Heroes 2 follows the same basic formula as No More Heroes 1. Enter rank fights, do mini games, and become the number 1 ranked assassin. The game has been streamlined massively compared to the first game, and on the whole, does improve the game. Certain aspects have been cut, but I believe these cuts to add to the game. Someone said less is more, and that really holds true for No More Heroes 2. But before we get into it, there will be some spoilers regarding the early game. You have been warned. The story picks up about 3 years after the first game. After making it to the top, Travis walks away, and when he returns he is dubbed the Crownless King. Now, this wouldn't be much of a sequel if he didn't try to reclaim his title. Spoiler alert, his best friend Bishop is killed and his head is tossed through Travis's window. Travis is pissed, and it just so happens the man who organized the hit is the new number 1 ranked assassin. But that's not all. This time round, the formula has been tweaked ever so slightly. So now, for example, you'll get to fight in a mech suit against something that looked like it was pulled straight out of Gurren Lagann. Gurren Lagann? Gurren Lagann. Lagann. Gurren Lagann. Tenga Toppa Gurren Lagann. Gurren Lagann? You'll stage a prison break that becomes a rank fight, turn into a tiger to one-hit enemies, fight superheroes, and so much more. There are also revenge missions where you hunt down Bishop's killers, but this doesn't add much to the experience. They're just some timed arenas where you kill all the enemies or one specific target. Additionally, there is a new type of ranking battle where someone ranked beneath you tries to kill you in the same way you're trying to kill the ranks above you. Now, this would have been refreshing had it not been for the fact that there's only one fight like this, and it plays like a regular rank fight, as you have to clear the area to get to her instead of her coming to you. It was a nice addition, and it's clear Suda51 and his team used this game to play with some new ideas. Some of the best being the introduction of levels where you can play as Shinobu, an assassin you spare in the first game, and Henry Cooldown, your twin brother. Both have their reasons for helping you, and both play differently to Travis, which is a welcome change of pace, but it's also a little bit annoying, as their segments end just as you're getting used to the change of playstyle. The combat in No More Heroes 2 is very much like the first game. There are quality of life changes, such as switching out the katana whenever you want, instead of having to go back to your apartment and change your katanas under your bed, but after getting the last katana, there's not much reason to go back to the others. You still have the wrestling moves, which are a welcome return, as they one-shot most enemies and do a decent amount of damage to bosses. Additionally, if you've played No More Heroes 1, the wrestling masks you collect in the first game transfer over to No More Heroes 2 and can be seen in your motel room. The game has been massively streamlined. The hub world is gone and replaced with a menu that allows you to go anywhere you want instantly. Side quests have been replaced with 8-bit minigames as your way of making cash. Some are fun, while others are quite frankly terrible. But it doesn't matter too much, as there's no need to pay for rank fights anymore, meaning the only reason to acquire funds in this game is to buy clothes and weapons, although the weapons you can buy just aren't really worth it. I think it's great the minigames are basically optional now, as they really break the immersion of being a top ranked assassin. I went from feeling like a badass assassin to a kid doing odd jobs to pay for that video game his mum wouldn't buy for him. The level up gym system has been replaced with 2 8-bit minigames, one for health and one for strength. While the health one isn't too challenging, the strength minigame is very obnoxious. Is it doable? Yeah, but is it worth getting good at it and completing it? Nah, you'll get through the game just fine without maxing your strength. Remember Naomi, the scientist from the first game who sold you all your weapons and upgrades for said weapons? Well, now she only has 2 to sell the whole game, and honestly, they're not that great. Feels like she was put in as an afterthought when the team were finished designing the bosses. Speaking of bosses, just like the first game, they all have unique abilities, designs, and are fun to fight. Unfortunately, they're not as fleshed out as the other bosses in the first game. It would have been nice to get a little bit more of a back and forth going with them, or even some monologuing. They all have such great designs, but don't get enough time in the spotlight. Fortunately, they're all unique and bring something new to the table. Some bosses come back from the first game with a new design, some require you to be mindful of your surroundings, and some teach you that there's a mechanic in the game that lets you resurrect when you die by being killed over and over and over. The music in this game rocks, especially during the second boss fight early on in the game. The music fits the theme of the levels really well, and it always has an upbeat nature to it. The game looks so much better than the first game, and as it has been ported to the Switch, it looks even better than it did on the Wii. There is no secret ending or completion bonus for beating No More Heroes 2, and it's actually quite short, so it's perfect for anyone low on time or a completionist who just doesn't want the pressure of having to find everything, as there really is no reward. Unless you want to see your motel room filled with all the otaku collectibles you collect as you play. With a lot of games, you really miss out if you don't do the side quests. Not this one. Just hop from boss to boss and enjoy the wacky story No More Heroes 2 has to offer. This game really builds on the first one. It strips out all the tedious aspects, it improves on the visuals, and it increases the boss count. I'm going to give No More Heroes 2 an 8 out of 10. And just like the first game, it's a really good way to spend a weekend.